When the results of the voting in Georgia started to come out and Donald Trump had the lead, Donald Trump had no problem with the results. As soon as the absentee ballots started to come in, Trump's lead in Georgia started to diminish. Trump started to claim that there was fraud. Presently, President-elect Joe Biden leads Trump in Georgia with over 14,000 votes and has been projected to win Georgia by a number of prominent news channels. Displeased with this result, Trump said he wanted a recount. Senators Purdue and Kelly told the Georgia Secretary of State to resign. Both senators said that there had been a lack of transparency from the Secretary of State. I live in Georgia, and that is completely false. The Georgia Secretary of State probably runs the most transparent election in the country. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience because I live in Atlanta, Georgia. You can log into your voter account and track your ballot like you are tracking a FedEx package. Because of Trump's complaints in Georgia, the Georgia Secretary of State ordered a hand recount of all the ballots. This is a very cumbersome and time-consuming process, but the Georgia Secretary of State ordered it anyway in the interest of transparency. As soon as the hand recounts appeared to show and confirm Biden's win in Georgia, Trump changed the goalpost and took to Twitter to say that the hand recount in Georgia is a waste of time and they're not showing matching signatures. This is a lie. The signatures of the absentee ballots are matched against the voter's signature in the voter database. Trump also claimed that there is tremendous evidence of widespread voter fraud and that there is irrefutable proof that Republican poll watchers were not allowed to be present when the counting was going on in Georgia and other swing states. This is also a lie. Trump's own lawyer admitted to the judge, I believe in Pennsylvania, that Republican poll watchers were allowed during counting. An attorney in Georgia by the name of Linwood has filed a lawsuit in federal court in Georgia against the Georgia Secretary of State, stating that absentee ballots in Georgia are unconstitutional because of a settlement entered into between the Democratic Party of Georgia and the Georgia Secretary of State. Again, the settlement agreement between the Democratic of Georgia and the Secretary of State was reached to ensure that elections are free and fair and transparent in Georgia, and that absentee ballots are handled in a free and fair manner. Trump calls the settlement agreement a consent decree in his Twitter rant. Before the settlement agreement was reached between the Democratic Party of Georgia and the Secretary of State, if an absentee ballot is rejected because a signature was missing or a signature did not match the signature in the voter records, a clerk could unilaterally reject the absentee ballot. However, after the settlement agreement was reached between the Democratic Party and the Georgia Secretary of State, the settlement agreement stated that after a clerk determines that an absentee ballot was defective, the clerk must call two other clerks or registrars, and a majority of the registrars, I guess 2 out of 3, shall determine that the signature does not match the voter records. And after they determine that the signature does not match the voter records, the clerks will determine that the signature doesn't match the voter records, shall write their names on the envelope. Again, you would think this is for transparency purposes. If you have common sense, you will know that this procedure in the settlement agreement is more transparent because rejecting a ballot is not subject to the decision of one person and involves 2 or more people. And the clerks who reject a ballot must have their names written on the envelope of the rejected ballot. Isn't that the definition of transparency? But Senators Purdue and Loeffler in Georgia have claimed that the Georgia Secretary of State should resign because he allegedly did not conduct a transparent election. It is the Republicans who want to cheat and are mad that they did not get a chance to cheat. If the Republicans really want transparency, why do they have problem with a procedure that requires more people to get involved in rejecting an absentee ballot and which requires the folks who rejected the absentee ballot to write their names on the envelope for record purposes? The second thing in the settlement agreement is that it calls for a prompt notification of a voter whose ballot was rejected. It says that if a voter whose absentee ballot is rejected, that voter shall be notified and given an opportunity to fix the problem, to cure the problem. The voter shall be notified by mail and an attempt should be made to notify the voter by phone and by email no later than 3 business days after receiving the ballots. Again, what is wrong with notifying a voter in a timely manner that his or her absentee ballot has been rejected and giving that voter an opportunity to cure the defect? In his lawsuit, Lynn Wood claims that the Georgia Secretary of State violated the U.S. Constitution and that a federal judge should stop the Georgia Secretary of State from certifying the results of the 2020 general election, even if any problem with absentee ballots have been fixed or cured. Now, Trump has tweeted again, saying that the hand recount taking place is a waste of time and that they should call off the recount. Trump is now saying that after it appears that the hand recount is not going to change the results, that's why he's saying it now. He also said that the Georgia recount is a scam and that he wants to see fraudulent signatures. There are no fraudulent signatures here. Lynn Wood is probably trying to pander to Donald Trump and help him out any way he deems fit. Lynn Wood's lawsuit does not specify how many ballots were affected, which is what you at least have to show in court to prove likelihood of success on the merits. Biden is leading Trump with more than 14,000 votes. And if only 500 ballots are defective, it will not affect the outcome of the election, and a judge will most likely dismiss the lawsuit. One of the things you will have to show if you're asking a judge to issue an injunction is to show likelihood of success on the merits. Without that, a case will be dismissed because any ruling from the judge will not affect the outcome of the case. Secondly, the settlement agreement is within the spirit of the language of the Georgia statute. It doesn't change anything but offer additional protections for Georgia voters. Again, Trump has lost just about all of the lawsuits he has filed in an attempt to undo what has already been done, which is Joe Biden has already won the November 2020 general election. Anyway, if you like this content, please support my channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Also, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. And as usual, remember, say no to extreme foolishness.